Hello and welcome to a very special episode of Inside Music. I'm your host, James Shotwell. The regular podcast is on vacation this week, but I wanted to give you something to listen to while you travel home from the holidays or while you're just killing time waiting for work to resume. There were a lot of great albums released in 2018 from many artists that have appeared on this show, but one in particular stands out and has been getting a lot of acclaim on the blogosphere, and that is Jack Harlow's mixtape/album, Loose. Now, if you haven't been following along, Jack Harlow is a young up-and-coming rapper from Louisville, Kentucky, a place that not a ton of hip-hop artists come from, and he has a sound entirely his own. Jack and his friends, who call themselves Private Garden or the Private Garden Collective, have been working hard to craft a soundtrack to their lives that falls outside what is popular at radio right now, but what has very quickly been winning over the hearts of music fans around the world. Loose marked a clear step up for Harlow, and it's something that he began teasing when he appeared on our podcast in late 2017. I know that might seem like a lifetime ago, especially considering how crazy the last 12 months have been, but when I was listening back the other day, I realized that there's a lot here that has come to fruition since the time we talked, and I wanted to share it with you, for a couple of reasons. First and foremost, Jack Harlow is showing no signs of slowing down. He recently signed some type of deal with Atlantic Records that hasn't been made fully public yet, but they were backing his most recent statewide tour, and I imagine that they will be doing more together in the new year. Second, Harlow is a self-made professional. He and his friends have been working together to craft their own beats, make their own videos, and all together create a movement that is the property of no one other than themselves. Everything that they do is the product of their imaginations, and that's something that I think we all aspire to do. We all want to be our own person, and that is something that Jack Harlow and his movement in music embodies in a way that I hope more artists do in the coming months. And third, when I think of the new year, I think of fresh starts. I think of resolutions. I think of the new year as a chance to reflect on everything we've done, think about the things we want to do, and make a plan how to get there. It's not about saying, I want to lose 10 pounds, I want to record an album, I want to write a book. It's about figuring out how you're going to achieve those goals. You can't just say, I want to do this thing. You have to figure out how you're going to do it. And when you listen to this conversation with Jack, you really get a sense that he has a plan. He might not always make it public, he might not always make it clear, but he knows where he wants to go, he knows what he's doing, and he's not just making it up as he goes along. Everything is methodical, so much so that it appears off the cuff. And it's kind of funny how life works like that, right? You practice and you practice and you practice until it seems like it comes naturally. When you see a stand-up comedian on a Netflix special, they're not just making things up as they talk, they've been doing it for months and months on the road. Artists, they've practiced for weeks before they go on tour so that things can appear effortless when really they're the product of hard work and dedication. When I listened back to this episode recently, I found myself thinking about the things that I set out to do both with this show, in my career, and in my personal life that maybe didn't come to fruition or didn't really go where I wanted them to in the past 12 months, and I had to ask myself why. More often than not, it was a result of planning. It was a result of not seeing things through the way that I know that I should. And this episode inspired me to take a hard look at those things and reassess my priorities for the coming 2019. I don't know if that will happen to you, but there's a chance. So here we are, sharing a great conversation with Jack Harlow. But before we get there, there are a few things we need to review. And I know you may have heard this before, but just listen to it one more time. Why not? Just for the hell of it. This episode of Inside Music and all episodes of Inside Music are brought to you by Holix, the music industry's leading promotional distribution platform. Now, what that means is that Holix works with record labels, managers, publicists, and independent artists from all over the world to share new and unreleased music without fear of piracy. How do they do that? Well, you can find out more and gain access to a free 30-day trial by visiting Holix.com. That's HAULIX.com. I also want to encourage you to follow Holix on Twitter at HAULIX. That's at Holix on Twitter. There you can find out more about the show, upcoming guests, and learn a wide variety of skills and tips and tricks about navigating the modern music industry. I also want to encourage you to pick up Harlow's latest release, Loose, which is available on all streaming platforms and from his official website. Just go to Google, type in Jack Harlow. It's just like it sounds, JackHarlow. I think he's going to be even bigger than ever in 2019, and this is a bandwagon you want to be a part of. Finally, this is where I would usually play a little bit of his music, but due to YouTube restrictions and all sorts of other nonsense, we're just going to play some music from the YouTube audio library that can go for everywhere because Inside Music is now on YouTube. Yes, if you go to YouTube, you search Inside Music or Inside Music Podcast, you can find all 138 episodes of the show, including the one you're listening to right now. So please go, subscribe, and be on the lookout for some original YouTube-specific content coming to you in the new year. That's all I have for right now, so sit back, relax, and get to know Jack Harlow. No problem, man. I am excited to have this conversation. You're one of the youngest people that I think we've had on the show before, but you've more than earned the right to be here. I mean, things are really going off for you right now, it seems.
Yeah, man. Everything's good. Everything's a blessing. I'm just, yeah. I mean, that's what's up. I'm glad I'm the youngest. That makes me feel pretty cool. But yeah, I'm just working, man. I'm just trying to make some dreams come true. I hope you don't. Damn, can you hear that dog in the background?
Just a little bit, but it's fine. I have heard way worse things, man.
I'm just trying to make sure y'all have a good recording environment.
No, I appreciate it, man. So yeah, I want to walk through the whole thing because I assume there's a good chunk of people listening to the show that haven't heard of you before, just because I feel like you're somebody that if people are into the kind of music you make, they definitely know who you are, but you haven't really gotten that like major push just yet. Like you're right there on the cusp, and it's about that time.
Exactly. So yeah, I feel like you just got to get right over the hump at this point. I mean, everything's like I consider myself, I guess, like a college basketball prospect. And like right now, I'm just trying to get my draft stock up a little bit. But no, I totally agree. I just got to get over that hump, and then we can make it happen. But yeah, I haven't had that major push yet.
Well, I want to take it back to the beginning, man, because I want to give people a story. Because I talked to your manager Chris the other day. Great guy. One of the first times I've ever had someone be like, "I got to give you all the facts about this guy before you talk to him," and I really liked it because he told me so much about you that I don't think you would just know if I Googled you. I don't feel like your whole story has gotten out there just yet. So I'm he told me that he saw you on stage at a festival and you just blew him away, and then he kind of came into the fold. But you've been rapping for a while now. Can you kind of give us a little background, like when you got started and kind of the early years before this recent Jack Harlow emergence?
Right. Yeah. Well, I started rapping probably when I was like 11 or 12, and it was just because I had an obsession with writing and expressing myself through writing, like even from an early age. So once I got to be about, like I said, 11 or 12, that's when I started to get into music and rap, especially. Just rap was a form of expression. And so I just wanted to put my own twist on it. Like, just, from the start, I wanted to be myself. But, it started on like a laptop with one of my friends, and we were using Windows Recorder. Like, we were literally just recording into the laptop microphone. And we would like type out the raps for ourselves in Microsoft Word, and then we'd record into them. And I remember we were doing that for a while, and we would upload stuff to Facebook. Like right when we got Facebook, like it's like 12-year-olds, and we would burn some of those like terrible recordings onto discs, and we would sell them in middle school. And just off the hype, like we'd sell them for like $2, which is so funny because like. After that, I went a very long time without ever selling music again. It was just all released. But for some reason, like the first music I ever made was literally sold for $2 in middle school. But yeah, it started as early as that, and it just upgraded from there. I mean, we can get into it as much as you want to, but I would say that's exactly like that's the beginning. It was just a pure interest and just like fun. It was just fun. It was just something I did for fun at first.
Now, if I follow correctly, it did not take you that long, relatively speaking, to kind of get some attention from like outside your world. So like, how did that happen? Like, who was the first person to really take notice of what you were doing?
Well, first, like literal people were, students in my middle school, other people just seeing it. But I would say, the thing that, made me really take it serious, although I took it serious from the beginning in a way, but like really lock in and even make my mom realize like, wow, he's, doing something. I would say it was when I was about 14, I had a manager that actually works for Scooter Braun. His name's Matt Graham, reach out to me when I was going into high school. So the summer after 8th grade. And, we built a relationship, and eventually I was flown out to meet with a couple labels. And it was all just a crazy experience. That was definitely the first, like, there was a year there where I was kind of with him, and I got this preview of what the industry was like, and I guess, a sample of like what my potential could provide in a way. Like I just kind of saw like, oh, I'm really doing something with this. Somebody's taking notice. Like I could make money off this. And from there, but from there it was really like, yeah, this is what I'm gonna do. Like I had locked in. I'd made my decision. Like it wasn't long after that I wasn't on the fence about anything.
And it's kind of crazy because, like you said, your parents were like that secured them in believing in you as well. I mean, I'm sure they always believed in you, but like having someone like that come down and kind of tap you and say you could do
Right.
you can do this probably really got them behind you in a big way.
Of course. Yeah. No, it was definitely a sort of validation. And like you said, they did believe in me because they just believed in me as a kid. They thought I was just a good writer, even when it wasn't that good. They could understand the potential in me. I mean, I think a lot of people that I still know now, even then when I was younger, and looking back, it's like cringeworthy for me to listen to. The thing they noticed then, and that they tell me, I had an engineer that I work with still tell me that what he noticed from a very early age was like a control. Like I had control over like what I was doing. That didn't mean it was necessarily amazing or that good, but when I was rapping, like he was like, you have some control to you. So people saw potential like super early on. Like I was lucky to like not get shit on by everyone like from the start. You know what I mean? Like I didn't have to deal with a ton of, wow, you're terrible at this, and like battle through a year of just discouraging comments. Of course there's always been people that say, you suck, or like you can't do this, you're not very good, whatever. Like I've had that, but from the beginning I think like most people that heard it, whether they liked it or not, they were like, yeah, there's some potential there.
Now, is anyone else in your family into music? I know you have a brother, but does he do music?
No, he doesn't.
Uh,
No, I don't. There's really no like musical history
so you're the
in my
first.
immediate family, at least. I
Huh.
would say so. Yeah. I mean, I think that's why it was a little surprising because
Yeah.
my parents played music around the house, but nobody like played instruments or like was musically inclined and put an instrument in front of me. Really.
Oh wow. So where do you think so was there like do you have like a song or an album or an artist that kind of like really kicked you into this direction? Like coming from a place where music wasn't something that was maybe in your around you all the time. Like I'm curious, like what was that firing gun for you that was like, holy crap, music?
Right. Well, it's crazy. A lot of people like are blown away by this, but my mom actually like put me on to like rap and hip hop in general. She she like a story she tells is funny. She kind of attributes to the success in like a joking ways. She used to play the Marshall Mathers LP like in the minivan when I was like 2 and 3. Like I wasn't even old enough to like really be influenced by the lyrics or anything, but she would play that, and of course that's her joke of like, yeah, she like got it in me early. But I would say around like 8 or 9, she started like putting me on to music, and luckily it was like older music. So like early on, I was taught to kind of hear where hip hop started. She was a huge Public Enemy fan. She was a huge like Tribe Called Quest fan, and put me onto that music. And so I started discovering. And as a white kid, of course, like my first huge influence was Eminem. Like as soon as I heard about him, it was like, wow, this is amazing. Like I took so much influence from him. That's what I want, and I still do. He's a legend.
No doubt.
But you just start to understand it more and more. But I would say my mom was the first person to like put me on to rap and music in general. And yeah, from there it's just been like, wow, this is what I want to do.
Now, have you always been just Jack Harlow? Because I know there's the EP and there's 18, which we'll get to, but that's the only stuff that's out on like Spotify. Was the earlier material under the same name and you just don't put it out there?
It was actually when I first started. I like the first thing I recorded, I was just under Jack because I really wasn't, I didn't know what else to put. I was just Jack. And then when I started to realize, wow, I need like a moniker that can like hold a little more weight on Google, um, I went under Mr. Harlow. And I pretty much got rid of that by the time I was 15. But the early years, I was under Mr. Harlow. Like people that listen to me, that's what they knew me as. But it's been Jack Harlow for a while, just because it feels natural. People don't even like know that's my government name because I don't know. It's a different name, so they think it's like a pen name I came up with. Sometimes it's weird.
Yeah, it does. It does have a very kind of. It's so concise. It does kind of have a little bit of a sound where it's like that could be a character in a movie or something. But it's your
Right,
name. That's just
right.
who you
No,
are.
it's a blessing. I'm blessed. Yeah.
Maybe it's just a sign you're meant to have this platform. It just fits.
Right. Some kind of star role, right?
Well, okay. So that that opportunity kind of comes and goes. I know you ultimately decide not to go with any of those deals, and things kind of go away. So when that happened, when that moment kind of popped up, and it was like maybe a label's going to get you before you get to high school, and then it doesn't come together. When did you start getting onto the Handsome Harlow EP? Was that like immediately you just were like, I'm going to do this myself now, or what happened next?
Yeah, like after that happened, the manager I was working with, um, really cool guy. He helped me a lot and helped me learn a lot, especially with that experience. Me and him kind of drifted because he was managing some major like acts, like pop acts, acts that were paying for his house in LA, like, you know, acts that basically deserved his time. So there was really no disagreement between us, but he couldn't help me as much as um he really needed to in a way. So we maintained the relationship, but I didn't really have a direct manager as much anymore just because he was in a different place. And it was like basically grind time now because, the label thing didn't work and now I'm back in Louisville. So let's see what I can do. And it was never really discouraging, but when it happened, it was kind of like, it was sad. I was like, damn, like, anyone, it's discouraging. But looking back, I'm really happy I didn't sign those deals because definitely would not have been to my advantage at this point in my life. But yeah, starting in high school, the next 4 years of high school, I just grinded on my own. I recorded, I wrote, I just like got better and better, and that's why I would say is the 4 years like I really started to like develop my craft and just focus on being a better artist. And then I actually signed a one project deal with a label in Louisville, and that's how the Handsome Harlow EP came out when I was my senior year. I dropped that, and that dropped with them. And it wasn't my first project because I dropped a mixtape just by myself on SoundCloud my junior year. And so after my junior year, I got their attention, dropped that song, and then my deal with them was over, maintained the relationship. But yeah, it was pretty much all on my own. And now I have more of a team around me. But yeah, for the most part, it was just like me working out of my bedroom and working in different studios around the city in high school. And yeah, that's pretty much how it went.
Now, what was the first like video you made for this material? Because I've watched them all on YouTube, and you have this really great kind of aesthetic that runs through them all. But was it Every Night? Is that where it started, or is there another one before that?
What was crazy is my first music video was made when I was like 13, like when I
Oh,
started,
wow.
like in the early years.
With those early tracks.
And yeah, no, definitely. Like I started making videos very early.
Mm.
Um, Now recently, just like for branding purposes, I put them on private. I never deleted them, so they're still there, and I want to unveil them again. But just like for the approach I'm trying to take right now, they are not like currently on YouTube. But a lot of people hit me up all the time, like, "Where'd they go? Where'd they go?" And I'm never gonna delete them because I don't want them gone. But every once in a while, like I just feel like putting them on private because I just want to focus on what I'm doing now. But I started making videos like on a flip camera when I was 13. Me and my friends after school, we would like, get together and just like act wild in front of a camera while the song played and I like lip synced it. And we would think of like outrageous things we could do to it. So I was like, people knew me around the city for the videos very early. Like I developed like how I looked and my brand like super early just because I was just this kid out of the Highlands that was making videos. Even though it was low quality, the songs were low quality. It was like my persona was on display like very early, I guess you could say. And I'm probably gonna, put those back up. I don't know when, when I have conversations like these, it makes me wish like they were up right now. But I don't know, like a artist, I just feel different ways at different times. But they're still there. They still exist.
Well, I find it, I love them because when I first discovered your music, like I got it so randomly. I was listening to something else. I think I was listening to like Saba or something on Spotify, and it just rolled over to the next song, and it was Ice Cream, and I was just like, "What the hell is this?" And it was kind of cool to be able to log into YouTube and see that you didn't just have one video for Ice Cream, which we'll get to because it's so ridiculous, but you have like this whole archive of content. Like if anyone discovers your music on any site, you have so much content out there. There's photos, there's videos. You seem to be a pretty big media generating machine.
Yeah, I've tried to be. Yeah, definitely.
Now, do you have like a team of like friends or people around you that help you create all of this, or do you just kind of find new people for each project? I know you've worked with a few different directors.
Yeah, as I've gotten older, I definitely have like developed a team around me. I even have like a collective that I kind of thought up last year and put together with a group of people that um, I just worked with organically. It's called Private Garden, and that's kind of like my label collective. And I have a bunch of guys in there that I work with on a consistent basis now that goes from production to engineering to everything. The video thing is something we haven't locked down as consistently as you could probably see because it has been different people making the music. I've been wanting to like meet some kid that's like my age that's just passionate about it that is dope. But that doesn't happen for everybody. A lot of rappers or artists get lucky and they just like have a kid on their team that's amazing at video and they're in it for the long run and they both know they'll make money in the end. But as of now, no, I'm still paying like directors that are a little older than me that are talented. So
well, you're putting the word out there,
I
though. You're putting the word out there. People might hear this and be like, "I'm that kid." They can come to you.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, that's why you got to say things like that. No, exactly. Yeah, man. Like I've definitely developed a team at this point and a group of people around me that are creative and dope and talented. And yeah, it's come together as I've gotten older.
Now, when did you? I know you do some touring. You play outside Louisville some, but is that a relatively new thing? Like when Handsome Harlow came out, were you touring? Have you been touring for a while now, or is that still something you're kind of getting your feet wet in?
That's something I'm like you said, I'm kind of getting my feet wet because I kind of decided that's definitely something I wanted to focus on doing after I graduated. And since I've graduated last year, I've done a ton more shows outside the city. And I still do shows in the city from time to time that can bring, great crowds. But it didn't take long for me to realize that, like, in order to make a living at this, it has to be more than, huge crowds in Louisville. I need to expand. So, yeah, I go down to Atlanta a lot to record, but also to do shows. I've performed in Atlanta a few times. And, yeah, I'm trying to tour more, man. Hopefully I get on the road this summer. It just depends on if it's the right situation, but I think it'll come just as the music comes. Luckily, the internet kind of like creates those situations for you at this point.
Have you done South by Southwest before? I know you're heading down there.
Nah, it's my first time. It's the first time I've been out of school to do it, so I'm hyped.
It's gonna be a life-changing week for you. I think it's a wild place.
I think so, man. I heard I'm gonna be kept busy, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, man. Rappers really are busy down there. You can do several sets a day. You're gonna get a workout in.
Yeah, I'm gonna be tired as hell.
I like that. I like that. Just going into it ready to be tired. Well, you just did a tour at the top of the year. I remember seeing a video of a kid interviewing you in like North Carolina or something. How was that run? Was that good?
Man, that was cool. I got sick in the middle of it, so it didn't ruin it. It didn't ruin it, but I actually like changed my whole diet off that. I think I was just eating terrible. Like I was having like gummy bears and Sun Chips for dinner, like repeated nights in a row. Because it was just on the road, so we were stopping at gas stations, and I got sick. I think totally off of that. I think I like destroyed my own immune system. So I decided like I'm gonna eat better now, and that's been going okay. The food doesn't taste as good, but it was a good learning experience for the tour. But the tour was cool, man. It's an adjustment playing for crowds that aren't yours, because I was an opening act on a tour, so I was playing for kids that didn't know me, so. I'm not scared to take on the underdog role of like, trying to win people over, but it's definitely more difficult. So yeah, I'm just trying to focus on having fun on stage. But yeah, I'm ready to get this new music out because one thing I realized while I was on that tour is I'm so sick of performing these songs. I hate so many of these songs because they're so old to me that like I was not even having fun on stage for some of it because I couldn't even rap it passionately. Some of the songs I would just tell my DJ to skip when I didn't feel like doing them.
Just move forward. I like that.
Because yeah, I was just singing them, but this new music. That's how it goes. That's how it goes every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get to Hitchcock here in a second. We're almost there. So last year you graduated high school and you dropped 18. Now did that happen at the same time? See, I'm still just hopping on the train, so I don't know what the timeline is. Did you graduate and then release 18?
You're good. Yeah, it dropped like kind of right after I graduated, like a couple weeks after. So it was like worked on all throughout that last semester. And like a month before it came out is actually when I found the new management that you spoke to today. or whenever you spoke to him.
Yes, yeah, the other
And
day, last week, but yeah, great guys.
last week, yeah. And he's been great, man. I mean, it kind of like changed the trajectory for the whole release. Yeah, I dropped that like right after I graduated, and it was just kind of a snapshot of like where I was in life at the time. That's why I named it 18. People thought I was stealing Adele's waves. That was like unintentional, but yeah, it was just kind of like where I was at 18 years old. There's stories in there, there's raps, melodies, all that.
Well, I got to tell you, I think Ice Cream's that song that I think can get a lot of people just interested in what you're doing because it's real fun, it's easy to kind of get into. But the song I keep coming back to is "I'm Good." That's my track for that record for me. And
Man, that's what's up.
I think it showcases
That's
a
what's
little bit
up.
of everything you can do.
Yeah, man. Well, thank you. I'm glad. You know, what's crazy is, yeah, Ice Cream's definitely the single, but when it comes down to people that listen to the tape, the variety in people's favorite song is like unbelievable, honestly. Like I've heard literally every song multiple times, like that is their favorite. And I guess that's cool because, you know, it means it's a solid tape, but there's not a bunch of tracks that everyone kind of like skip through. Like people listen to the whole thing and they all have different vibes they're feeling. So I've heard I'm Good a bunch of times. I've heard the other ones a bunch of times. So that's what's up. I appreciate that.
No problem, man. And we mentioned it earlier, but the video for Ice Cream is so great. And I mean, all of your videos are fun, but that one, it just seems like you really went all out. And where did you get that ice cream truck?
Man, I actually used, when I graduated high school, I immediately like wanted to move out of my parents' house. Like just immediately, just on some independence. I just felt like it. And I actually had been recording at a homie's house about 15 minutes from my parents, but in like a little bit worse part of town. And that's why I decided to move because there was some vacancy there. And that's why I'd been recording. So it was already a setup to record, like kind of a studio in the basement. So we moved there. And right down the street actually was a like depot full of ice cream trucks, like just on some dirty South shit. So
weird.
I went down there and I just asked them like, can we like use one? I didn't know what was gonna happen. Like I had my idea for the video and I wanted to make it happen. And they said, yeah, like we could rent it. We rented it for 2 hours. It cost like a little bit of money. I think it was like $75. Like I don't know, but it actually came with a driver, and she was super cool. She was super into it. She just had to stay with us the whole time because it was like her truck for that day. And we just ate ice cream and shot the video, man. It was wild.
It is. It looks like that was probably a good day for you.
Yeah, it was cool, man. It was really fun.
And that video is about at 60,000 plays on YouTube, and I see that the song is going to pass 500,000 on Spotify soon, which just has to be crazy to you.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's really dope because I would say that's definitely the song that has opened the most doors for me at this point because that's been the one that's garnered the most attention. I dropped it over a year ago now. It's just like kind of gone crazy compared to what I've done in the past. Which my aspirations are much higher, but yeah, 500,000 is crazy. Just off that, just off playlist placements, and then like it's not even on the playlist anymore, and I consistently see it like getting thousands of plays every day. So like real people are loving it, like listening to it over and over again. I don't know, so it's amazing. It's a great feeling.
Speaking of, it's been out for a year. Tomorrow, or I guess when most people are hearing this, probably today or this week, you're releasing a new song, which I actually got to hear this morning, and it's pretty great, called Hitchcock. Can you tell me where that comes from?
Man, so, damn, I'm so glad you asked me, because I actually have not really spoken to anyone about where the title came from. So, like, the opening line of the song is "Watching Hitchcock till I drift off," and that was something I just like wanted to say. I recorded that song in Atlanta, and I wrote it like on the spot. My homie Juan and this guy named Jay Reed that we met the same day. I went down with Juan, and him and Jay Reed just made this beat together. And like I told him, I kind of want to like Eclipse, like Pharrell feel on it, and they just made the bounce like immediately. And it was so hard, and I just started writing. And I was like, what's been going on in my life currently? Like I just wanted to talk about like where I was. And like I was on this binge of watching the Hitchcock movies. Something about them, like they're very atmospheric to me. Like I just love the Hitchcock movies. I watched like 10 of them within like 2 weeks leading up to us going down to Atlanta. And yeah, I was just like that. Nobody talks about that. I felt like in hip hop, like I just thought it'd be like a cool opening line. Like even if some people probably don't even know who the hell Hitchcock is, like some of the younger crowd.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I was just like, I never mind being esoteric. You don't have to really relate to everyone. That's what I want to do. I just want to talk about what I was doing. So I said, watching Hitchcock till I drift off, and then it was just from there. Yeah, I just wrote it from there. But yeah, the whole concept was just something that was like kind of real to me. No matter how major or minor it is, I like writing stuff that is like real to me. I can relate to like on a day-to-day basis. And to give somebody like a snapshot of that might make somebody check it out. And then the cover art's kind of inspired by like one of his biggest movies, Rear Window, which is my favorite movie ever, probably. Which I had seen like a long time ago, and I'd always loved like just the atmosphere of it. Like I love Hitchcock movies because like you kind of familiarize yourself with the setting. Because he like stays in the same settings for a while. And so I don't know, I just love those movies. So that was kind of the inspiration for it. And then I just wanted to rap. I just wanted to get some raps off. I hadn't really released anything in a while. And I was like, why not come back with something that's just like crazy? Just makes people say, damn.
It's so funny that you mentioned asking for a Clips beat, because the very first thing I said when I heard the song this morning was, this sounds like a Clips song. Like this, it 100% sounds like Lord Willin era Clips.
Yeah, no, definitely. No, I love Clips, and I love that type of production. And what's crazy is I have been asking for that type of production like all my life. I just couldn't articulate it yet. Like I have been attracted to like, I call it like lunch table style beats, where like it's just like you just are beating on something and it's just hitting hard. Like it's all about the percussion. And I have been attracted to that style since I was young. Like that's just the style I've been attracted to. And now, like, to finally have some people that can make it is amazing. So, like, look out for that sound a lot more going forward, because that's always what I've wanted to rap over is, like, Clips, Chuck English, Cool Kids kind of style, Pharrell Williams inspired style. It's just crazy.
How much material are you sitting on? I remember Chris said that you've just been working hard in the studio, so I'm curious, like, how much are you just waiting on?
Like, so many hits, dude. Like, for real, I'm sitting on so much heat. I don't know how to release it. Because it's not like when you're sitting on that much good music, which I've never done before, you don't know like where to start. You don't know like strategically what the best thing to do is. So Hitchcock was clear, like, let's just drop this. But Hitchcock is not a single in the way a melody is a single generally. Like it's not a traditional single. And I'm not gonna put a ceiling on it because it could go crazy. You have no idea, like I have no idea like how far it could go. But I'm sitting on like a lot of other stuff that has some like hooks and different things on it. I don't know what to do because it really is a lot of hits. So I don't know what I'm doing project wise. I'm just stacking up right now, like just making the catalog crazy. So we're just sitting on stuff.
So you have Hitchcock out this week. Kids are gonna go crazy for it. The as you mentioned, the artwork is great. I love the art for 18 and for the first EP, but this is something really eye catching. What you did for Hitchcock.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's definitely more the direction I wanted to head, like more artistic.
Yeah. So you got that this week. We got South by is in like 2.5 weeks now, and then what? What's next for Jack Harlow?
I don't know.
Trying to figure that out right now.
Yeah, like I don't know. Like I keep coming back to Atlanta because the people I'm working with down there keep bringing me back. So I'll be down there a lot this year, I'm sure.
I saw
more recording.
I saw that photo of you and Young Dro. You think maybe we'll see that collaboration?
I hope so, man.
So good.
He's like the coolest dude ever. That was out of nowhere. I was in the studio and I had heard that Young Dro had heard my stuff and like liked it. But then somebody told me like, yo, he wants you to come over right now. Like one of his associates called us. So we just went over there in the middle of a session to his strip club. And it's called Blue Ivory. And he just like walked us around it and talked to me for like 3 hours. Like didn't look at his phone once. Like he's just like a super down to earth dude but he's still a character. Like he's wild as hell for real. And he wanted to take pictures. He wanted me to just sit in his cars just to sit in them. And then like he was taking me around the strip club, like telling me how like I could do the same thing. I don't know. And I think there's some interest on the table, but nothing really like worth discussing yet. But the relationship's there. I talked to him on the phone a couple of weeks ago. And he's just a good guy. Like, that's somebody that I would love to, like, just develop, like, a genuine friendship with going forward. But, yeah, we definitely need to get a collab off. I have no doubt that will happen. I need a verse from him. Absolutely.
Well, I feel like, I mean, there's a couple of collaborations on 18, but I feel like that's one thing we haven't really heard you do too much of yet. So I assume that that's on the horizon.
Yeah, I hope so, man. I'll be straight up with you. I'm not really sitting on one.
But you got other stuff.
There's potential for one right now, obviously with the drill thing, and then I have some other relationships, but yeah, I haven't really. I don't know, like in the beginning, I've kind of wanted to. I know the collabs will come. Collabs are things that just inevitably come for artists that are getting bigger. So I've never been one to like try and collaborate with everyone around me, just because I'm lazy. Like I feel like that's almost like a lazy move sometimes. People don't want to write a second verse, and so they cloud their own song with collaborations with people that are just like okay. And for me, the whole point right now is to raise myself up, like get myself on a higher platform and then collaborate. Like that, I'm still developing my style and like developing my brand. There's no reason for me to like confuse people. Because one thing I hate is when I'm introduced to a new artist and they have a feature on every track and I don't even know their own voice yet. And so I'm trying to figure out like what song should I listen to that isn't going to be like almost muddied by just like somebody they threw on there. Like there's really no reason for that yet, I feel like. But, there's definitely going to be collabs on the horizon. Like Young Dro is not an example of what I'm talking about.
Oh, of course.
Obviously, there's artists that I need to collaborate with if I have the opportunity. But no, I don't just collaborate to collaborate.
Yeah, well, I think especially in your case, you're really telling a story. Like so far, your fans have like followed you growing up, and I think are kind of waiting to hear the next chapter. So it's not really a point where like we need someone else's story. We're still kind of learning yours.
Exactly.
Exactly. Well, I gotta tell you, man, I love to see what you're doing for hip hop, especially in Louisville. I know everyone loves Bryson Tiller, but I like you bringing something else to the table.
Yeah, absolutely.
No hate on Bryson Tiller, but I love that you show a different side of Louisville.
Yeah, absolutely, man. No, I appreciate that because you have to bring something new, or there's really no reason for people to give their free time to you. So no, I totally agree. I'm a Tiller stan now. That's a collab one collab
that's gotta
make happen of it. Yeah, and we've messaged a few times, and obviously it's just my job to get to the level where it's worth it for him. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't see it being an issue, but I know he wants Louisville scene to succeed probably as much as anyone. So we'll make it happen.
Yeah, Louisville needs an anthem from you two, if nothing else.
That'd be fire.
You two are kind of helping put the city on the map in music in a big way, and I love seeing it.
Exactly. Yes,
well, man, I don't want to keep you for too much longer. I knew you're a busy guy, but I thank you for taking the time to talk to me. It's crazy to me that you're still 18 years old and you have such a strong head on your shoulders and you know what you want out of this industry, especially in your genre where people so easily get distracted by pointless shit. You seem to know what you want to do.
Well, thank you. No, I appreciate that. That's a huge compliment. Yeah, I'm just blessed, bro. Like. I'm not that special or anything. I've had great parents my whole life, great people around me. Grew up in a great environment, so I have all the advantages in the world. So I'm just blessed.
Well, real quick for people listening, what's the easiest way to keep up with everything Jack Harlow is doing this year?
Yeah, no, it's simple. Luckily, I have at Jack Harlow, so it's JackHarlow. Instagram, Twitter. You can look me up on Facebook if you're still on that. But Instagram and Twitter is really where I'm most active. SoundCloud, soundcloud.com/Jack Harlow, youtube.com/Jack Harlow. Real simple. I'm going to have a nice little website / landing page for y'all soon. But, we're just on social media right now. Spotify, Jack Harlow. Just look it all up. But that should be pretty easy to find.
Yeah, I think once people see that image, that cartoon image of your face, it's pretty hard to not remember it. It's pretty, you stand out.
Right, no, I appreciate it.
You got a look I love. But all right, man, thank you so much, and we'll get this out probably tomorrow so that everyone can go hear Hitchcock right away, and then we'll see what happens, man. I'm excited to watch what happens next for you.
Okay, awesome, man. Well, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
No problem, man. Have a great day.
Good talking to you. Yep, later.
So that was my conversation with Jack Harlow. Now, as promised, I want to play you a quick snippet of his new single, Hitchcock, which you can find available on all major streaming platforms right now. After that, the show's over. Thank you so much for listening. We'll talk to you next time.
whoa. Hey. Watching Hitchcocks till I drift off. Woke up to this beat and let the shit knock. She wouldn't give top till my dick soft. Clockwork every weekend, it's like TikTok. I just hit Atlanta, I got Tupo with me. In the cockpit, I might just take him to Pluto with me. If Bruno hit me, we might have to fuck with Mars and they don't